sometimes quiet feels so right. High over the North Star.
Love.
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 Love. Cypher. Hello, loves, and welcome back to Cypher Honestly. We're here on Flow 2. True self-love.
Thank all of y'all for joining us. We're so excited to be here. Oh my gosh. First and foremost, look at this gorgeous location. And yes, if you're wondering, it's cold. Just get out of the chair. But you know what? We're excited. We're passionate. That's a part of self-love, is being so passionate about what you're doing that you are just excited and happy no matter what you're going through. And that's exactly what we're showing you today. So to start off, we're going to rewind back to our intro, which is who we are, what Cypher Honestly is, and why we're here. So to start off with, as I said in Flow 1, my given name is Jasmine. People call me Jazz, but I want everyone to think of me and call me Love. Because first and foremost, we're all love. And I want us all to remember that. Secondly, as far as I'm concerned, all of existence is love. If you break it down to the simplest form or particle, it's energy, and that can be called love.
We are the world. We are the children.
As far as Cypher Honestly, you know, the reason that I wanted to call it Cypher Honestly was because it just made me think of, you know, standing on the corner, spitting over the same rhyme or over the same beat. And for me, that's like what we're doing. We're spitting or we're sharing over the same question. And we want you, of course, to do the same thing. So when you go think about these questions or when you go talk to your friends about them, y'all are vibing over the same question that we're doing. Secondly, you know, as far as the honestly part, of course, it's the authentic, it's the inspiring part. So that's why it's like, to me, it's Cypher Honestly. And also, we tend to arc back to some of our original questions, to some of our point. All of life, of course, is a cipher, it's a circle, so definitely want to bring that component into it. As far as why we're here.
The reasons that we're here.
Definitely the inspiration. Like I said, you know, the inspiration is golden to us. You know, when we kept talking about why we want to do this show, we talked a lot about inspiration. And the inspiration includes being authentic. Hugely, hugely being authentic. I know we definitely, we have learned so much through this journey. It's been such an interesting journey. It's been amazing. We have maintained our authenticity to ourselves and to each other, to the show. You know, even when we might have been laughing, sometimes we might have been ready to we were being authentic, and we knew that then the authenticity is what allowed everything to work out. I mean, that's been one of the most amazing things, is to see the magic that came out when we just maintained the authenticity and continuing to have fun, and things just work themselves out. Also, the biggest thing as far as the inspiration from me is the questions. Like, I was not ready to do this show until we figured out that we wanted to be asking questions. Like, that was 100 to me one of the most important things, because I feel like that's the most inspiring way to communicate with others, is ask questions. I guess the one other thing I did want to share with y'all is kind of the flow of the show. So we're going to be using what we call a yes and format, which is we're going to always honor each other's perspectives, even though we may not always agree. I mean, we have different perspectives. We're always going to recognize, like I said, everything is one. So that means everything is the truth. There is one truth. All is within it. So all truths, all perspectives, all vibes are still the truth. Yeah, but could I potentially add mine onto maybe his? Yes. Definitely you'll hear us talk about Vibe Quest. Our Vibe Quest is our main question for the day.
Dre? Hello guys. So yes, I'm Dre. And I'm so excited to be back here with you guys. So last video, I kind of was telling you guys, this is what I always am, and I'm always this and I'm always that. But in reality, you know, I'm just gonna present to you exactly, I'm just gonna be as authentic as I can, and you can perceive me any way that you feel as though you see me. And that's what I'm gonna give to you. So, you know, so I don't really want to be like, okay, this is exactly who I am, because in all reality, there's so many levels and tiers to us as human beings that I don't want to put myself in a box and say, oh yeah, well, this is me, all that, you know, I mean, because to be completely honest, you know, we have our moments, and we have our moments where we're here, and we have our moments where we may just be right here. And, you know, in reality, that's what I want you guys to kind of let your mind wonder on who I may be. So yes, as Jazz said, as Love said so clearly, Cypher, honestly, this is what it's all about. It's us just here ciphering on this one question, and we're just having a whole whirlwind of our own truths and everything that goes along with that just keeps cycling and cycling, and eventually we have a point where we have some sort of answer to what we're giving you guys. And honestly, honesty is key to anything. So honestly, we want to be honest. That's what we want to do. So,
are you honestly cold at this point?
I am honestly freezing. So, you know, and this just means so much to me. It feels like I laid down in that birth bed and threw my legs up and and I pushed this thing out. You know, love it and cherish it, and I'm just so excited to put it out there in the universe and put it out there for you guys to vibe into and just grow and grow along with us. So we're so excited to be back out here with you guys.
Is there anything you want to share about is that why you're here? All that?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Is there anything
Why
you want
I'm here is to inspire. Why I'm here is to be a voice. Why I'm here is to love and cherish every moment that we have on this here green earth.
Anything about the flow of the show that you want to share?
So yeah, flow of the show, you know, as Love stated, probing questions. We want you to really, really understand the significance that the questions are really the key to why we're here. Because the questions not only are for you guys to hear, but for us all to vibe into. And whoo, it's ready. So yes, you know, those questions are for you guys to vibe into, and for us to also go home and vibe as well. So
Cool. And like we said, we're going to use yes and. So thank you, Dre, so much. And I'm actually going to add on to that, because I realized one of the biggest things that I've realized through this process is the questions, like I said earlier, are golden. Like, they're the holy grail as far as actually being who you want to be, creating what you want. You have to ask the right questions first. It's not just about asking the same questions that we ask. It's about going and co-creating your own questions. So that's really where the inspiration comes. I'm not even saying using the same questions. I'm saying, so for example, Dre and I were talking one time, and we talk a lot about self-love, and we're talking about politics, and he said, what's it gonna take? And I was like, yo, as soon as I heard it, I was like, yo, that is golden, because that what's it gonna take is kind of that edgy question that I knew my inner child was like, yeah, I need to feel that too. Only do I want to be the, you know, higher vibration self-love, but at the same time, my inner child's kind of like, yeah, I need to know what's gonna take. And I was like, put those two together, and you got a question, you know, you can tailor it specifically to what is it going to take to become wealthy, for example. My higher self and my inner child are going to focus on that question, because they're like, yo, they both feel it. Like, I asked it in a way that is both high vibration, also like earthy and grounded. And I was like, yo. So that's a perfect example of like, the questions are golden. And then you really need to vibe into co-creating your own questions. The other part, I love what Dre said. One reason that I'm just going to want you to call me Love is because what I've done in the past, you know, what degrees I have, yada, 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 none of that really matters as far as I'm concerned when it comes to this. Now that we're back inside with the warm, okay, yes, Honestly, my brain is not functioning off that joint.
Honestly, truly.
I felt frozen. It frozen.
It's a little shaken up there.
Okay, so I wanted to add a nice PS about why I want y'all to call me love, and this is going to add on to Dre's comment, which was so perfect about he's just Dre, and whatever you say about him, you know, that's, you know, what you say, and he wants you to learn him. So it's kind of the same thing with me for wanting you to call me love. Whatever you vibe about me, whatever you think about me, it's true. Even though I may not take it all on or focus on it too long, it's still true. You know what I'm saying? So since we're all of the existence, you know, boils down to one truth. All is within that. Whatever you say about me is true. So do that, be that. I'm okay with that. Just call me love.
This is the dawning of the age.
Okay. Waiting on this.
Yeah,
Okay. We want to give y'all a little heads up, and I'm glad that I just had my Aquarian moment because that's what our heads up is about. So I'm glad that you got to see that because heads up, you are listening and watching to Aquarians. We will fall down rabbit holes and flow down to black holes. Yes, this joint gonna be mad airy. Gonna be mad airy. So I hope y'all are ready. Be open. And heads up. So now rewind into our last flow, which was what is love. So we're gonna vibe into any questions, vibes we co-created since our last flow. Dre?
So last flow, what is love? I posed the question, how does your love differ from childhood moving into your adulthood? How differently do you give and receive that love? And going back into my vibing and like just going throughout the days and stuff like that, I realized, hey, like a lot of these experiences that I've went through and a lot of these traumas I went through, I've never recognized them for being that. So the question that I had posed for myself was, hey, Dre, nudge nudge. Like, am I acknowledging those experiences for what they were?
Wow, I like that. What
Right.
they are and
Right,
are.
okay.
So, you know, when we talk about patterns repeat and ciphering,
Yes.
yeah, he just created
Yes.
a whole new word to describe that perfectly.
Wow. So that's definitely like one of the things that I wanted to vibe into. It was a big question that I had for myself. So that was my question again. Like, hey, now that you realize this, now it's time to put the work in.
Golden, okay. Cool. So one of the questions that I co-created actually was based off of Dre's question. So Dre gets another sticky. I'm just gonna be adding. Dre's so prophetic. I'm just gonna be adding on to his stuff the whole time. So he asked the question, how do you feel love? So of course, you know, through our chopping up this show, yeah, we were up all night last time. So this conversation came out. So part of that, and I realized, well, one of the things about first and foremost feeling love is first and foremost to ask yourself, are you actually feeling? And that means feeling it all. Because the reality is, if you're blocking any feelings, if, you know, Dre and I talked about avoiding conflicts and if the reality is, if you're closing the door to any of your feelings or emotions, you're closing them to all of them. So, you know, you gotta ask yourself, are you blocking your feelings? Are you allowing yourself to feel them? Are you accepting them? Are you appreciating them? Are you loving them? Are you recognizing that they're a part of you? That's being authentic. Are you recognizing that they are useful and that they're there for a reason? So, yeah, you know, definitely the first question is like, yo, are you really feeling? Just in general, like.
I love. I vibe that.
Feelings so deep in my feelings. No.
So, another question that I co-created, which is similar and actually kind of arcs back to Dre's question about love, which was also similar to the question I asked on the last flow, which is what is love, was about should you say something or do something when someone's doing something that feels hard harsh? Or in a sense, should you allow yourself not only to experience it, but then also to feel the response? So, like I said earlier, if you close, you're closing off. So that's the first reason that we may want to consider allowing ourselves not only to experience everything, and I know Dre and I mean, that's one of the biggest things that has been so magical about what we've been experiencing on this journey is we have seen so clearly, if you just stay open, and I mean, for me, I'm staying open means I'm just laughing through a lot of stuff now. Like, magic just happens. Things just work out. But if you close, or if you, as Jay was saying, go love someone over there, you might be focusing on going over there instead of going over there where you should be, where the magic is about to happen. So if you just flow with it and don't resist it, and don't get too caught up in the feelings of it. Feel it, but don't get too caught up in the feelings. I feel like you get directed where you're supposed to go. The other part of that is, like I said in the last flow, is if you resist it, you're gonna be co-creating more. And also, one thing I really vibed into was, if you're resisting it, what's your focus on? Are you focusing on that thing you're resisting, or are you focusing on the thing that's really important to you?
Right.
Like, the reality is, wherever you put your energy is where your energy is going. That's what's going to be fed. So kind of in a sense, if someone is doing something harsh and you're thinking about them and instead of thinking about what you want to be doing, they're winning like 2 times. So it's like, that's another reason, as far as I'm concerned, not to close down, not to necessarily walk away, because if you're walking away mad, if you don't like deal with the situation to where you feel good about it, if you're resisting it, you're in a sense probably going to focus on it instead of focusing on what you want. And like I said, Dre and I just been having so much magic. Like, you know, perfect example, sketch you're going to see that we did later. When we set up the first time, someone kind of just gave us some, they was in their feelings about it. They gave us a hard time. We just, handle it real quick, and then, but stayed, laughing, joking, good time, and moved to the next perfect location. And it was like, how do we got too caught up in our feelings? How do we resist it? Or how we try to force staying? It wouldn't work.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah. So, any other questions in relation to our last flow, which is what was love? Are you ready to get into true self-love?
Gosh, love, love just I love how love always takes me to like the next level of thinking. If I wasn't such an Aquarius, said something that just dawned on me, but man, I just love being taken to the next level. I love it. I love. This is what you surround yourself by. Surround yourself by positive energy, positive vibes, and the only way you can go is up. So.
Well, thank you. So I think that means we are ready for flow 2.
Flow 2. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
True self-love.
Hello. You must be tired because you've been running through my mind all day. How are you? You look good. Want to give me a call sometime soon? Okay. Get that in there. Ready? Hey?
Excuse me. Yo, for real. So you coming with me tonight? Damn. Yeah.
Well, been lonely a lot of times before. Wait a minute. Whoa. Good. True self-love. Such a beautiful, beautiful question that has so much in there. So much in there.
Yes.
So, my question for myself and also for you loves, living in a society today where we have things like social media and media outlets and celebrities and so many other factors of this world that kind of tell you, hey, this is the image that you have to live up to. This is this is considered perfect, or you know what I mean? So with all of that, living in a society where so many like self-enhancements and just being able to easily access pages and being able to like take that judgment or just like being able to put yourself on a pedestal to be judged. Where do you yourself say, hey, I'm comfortable enough in my skin, in this vessel, in my being, in my body to say, hey, this is who I am, and this is what this is my input into the universe. So, in a world, in a society where we have so many factors that tell us otherwise, where do we say, hey, this is myself, this is who I am. So.
Yeah. And if I can add on, Dre, which means you.
Uh-oh.
Get sticky! Where you want it?
God.
Other cheek? Let's get you back. Let's get you balanced there. Keep you balanced, my friend. Well, I love what you were saying. I mean, that was like golden. Another thing part of is in a system where we're taught not to love ourselves, where we're taught that doing things that harm ourselves is self-love, quote unquote, or what is expected. How do you learn self-love? So for example, like one of my big things is eating raw foods, So we're in a system where, meat eating and da-da-da is a thing to do and is expected and is promoted. How do you learn to eat the healthiest? How do you love yourself to learn to eat the healthiest? And the same thing with that is, we were talking about earlier, is the system and society where time is a huge factor. We're also focused on other folks and what they're doing. That's one thing I was saying earlier about, learning to value myself enough to say, hey, we gotta share here. Like, I am not gonna bust my butt, go make some money, a bunch of, money, and then go pay, I say I have to work 2-3 hours to pay to go for your concert that is only a half an hour, an hour. Like, how do we get the time to learn, and either enhance or learn self-love? So yeah, definitely. The question I want to share with y'all that I'm vibing is, once you've learned, I feel like through all of my studies, everything I've been really blessed to experience, that, overall I'm learning about, what self-love is. Like I said earlier, to me, what love is to me is very similar to what self-love is. Now, does that include like having that passion project?
What are you playing this game? What's your passion? What's your drive? What's your purpose?
We're talking about, and this kind of arcs back to the feeling. I think the one way that I vibed into feeling love is having a passion project. So this is my passion project. This Cypher honestly is my passion project. So I vibed and I realized this project, I noticed Dre's talking about changing his diet. Like, I know I'm more inspired to change my diet. Dre and I both noticed how things that have happened, we've been laughing through them because of this passion project. So it feels like passion projects are the things that inspire you, that energize you. Does self-love require having that internal, even though it's an experience, external, that starts internal and moves external to inspire you? It feels like, yeah, you do. For real self-love, you have to have something that you're really passionate about. Like, that's definitely a question that I want everyone to vibe into. Do you have to have a passion project to love yourself? And if you do you have a passion project? So yeah.
Well, love, I want to give you a sticky here.
First. I will always remember my first.
Gosh, you can't ever forget your first. Never. So, going back to what you said about time, love, it seems like everyone is kind of like rushing to try, and another, I guess this kind of goes also with time. It goes back into the social media realm. I'm a very, I love social media. I'm constantly, I use it a lot. That's my little platform, and this is the platform here. So with time, it seems that everyone wants to be, feels like, you see someone doing all these great things and you're like, oh man, when is it my time? When will I be able to? So it really takes you outside of yourself. And that's why I'm always stressing, like, hey, be present. Like,
Hey loves, it's Love with Cypher Honestly, and we're here today speaking to Miss Present. Oh man, Miss Present, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited to be here with you. I've been trying to get an interview with you for months. Like, man, I'm so excited. I've heard so much about all the work that you do, how much people love you. Yeah, I'm so excited. So we're gonna jump right into it. So to keep things real simple, real quick and easy, we're gonna use a yes and no format. Which means
Miss Present? Oh my God, what's up, Miss Present? Oh my God! Hey, can I get a picture? You got me? Oh my God! All right,
I'm sorry.
Wait, take it.
Ready?
Let's get- Oh my God! Oh, I love you so much. Stay blessed. Stay up.
So this is what I've heard about you. People love you. Oh my gosh, you inspire people so much. Thank y'all. Like I said, let's keep this real quick and simple and easy. So let's use a yes and no format. So if the answer is yes, just stay silent. If the answer is no, shake your head. So first question, isn't Love the absolute most amazing person? Wow, thank you, man. You're so kind. I've heard how kind you are, but I mean, really, I love that you appreciate me. Number two, isn't Dre the absolute most handsome, charming brother on the planet? Aw, that's so sweet, Miss Present. I know he's really gonna appreciate that. I'm gonna make sure to tell him. Number three, will you deposit all your money into my account? Wow, you're so generous. Thank you. I mean, I've heard how generous you are, but wait, really, this is way too much. Thank you. Number four, I've heard if your head wasn't attached to your neck, that you might lose your head. Is that true?
Is that Miss Present? Oh my gosh, Miss Present, it's so nice to meet you. Oh my gosh, can we get a snap real quick? Thank you, Miss Present. It's so nice to meet you. Have a good one. You can't look at someone else's life and think, hey, what am I doing wrong? It's not that you're doing anything wrong. What you are doing is not focusing on yourself. I mean, and that ties right on back into self-love, where it's just kind of like, you know,
Absolutely.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just really being able to ground yourself and say, hey, like, you know, this is the level, this is the pace that I'm going at. And gosh, you know what, coming out of this, like, so recently I just received my license, and whoop whoop full of whatever. You know, so like, I mean, be careful. So like, you know, there was a time where like my mom was like really like, hey, do this, get your license. You need your license. You need your license. And I kind of felt so much pressure to be like, oh my gosh, like, Sally Mae and Susie has their license at 18, and I'm still 18, and I don't even have a license yet. But not even realizing, hey, like, I'm this old, and this is what I'm doing, and you know what I mean? This is what I'm doing in my life. So it all takes time. You know, everything comes in time. And going back into just our experiences, everything just seemed to like flow. So, you know what I mean? Everything flows into this question of self-love. Aquarius so yes, I mean, sometimes it just really takes you to be present, acknowledge what you've done, and give yourself credit. It is you have to give yourself like that pat on the back and say, hey, you did it. And
Yeah, I love that. And I guess I think if I could maybe shorten up that question just a little bit and say, is being present self-love, or can you have self-love without being present? And I know that's something that we've been really vibing into and really learning, like you said, about time. Like, we've just really learned about when doing this show not to be stressing about, okay, what's gonna happen next, what location, you know, look at the time, you know, when we go get it up. It's just like flow with it, just be present. And like I said, there have been times where when we're at a shoot, you know, people have done things and we just laugh it off and da-da-da. And other times when we had to be present enough to say something. So it's just like being present enough to know what to do in that moment felt like. 'Cause I think it's one thing I think oftentimes people try to define self-love or love or anything as one specific thing all the time, and it's like it's not. So it's like, is self-love one particular thing at all times, or is self-love everything that's in the moment?
I love it. Yes. And just to like change gears a little bit, ask yourself, are you living in fear?
Yeah,
Are you
that's
living
a
in
good-
fear? Are
that's a
you
good-
living
that's a
in
good
fear
question.
of someone else's perception of you? What I have really been trying to take on is, hey, this space isn't this isn't me being my most comfortable. So like really being able to step out of your comfort zone and make that your comfort zone. So being able to kind of like stepping outside of yourself, stepping outside of your fear. Yeah, right. You know, I mean,
for the camera. You weren't comfortable.
you know, I mean, just really putting my life out there for you guys to now be able to judge, and for you guys to be able to come up with your own opinions on me. This is really me being very, very fearful. Is that the fearful? Yeah.
Fearless?
Fearless. This is me being fearless, right? So this is me being fearless because I'm putting this out there for display. This is my life out there on the line. Granted, as I said earlier, you know, I do have a lot of social media. I have the Facebook, I have Instagram. But, you know, those are all pictures and just still moments in time. So this is me being able to really express this verbally, like, hey, this is a part of my life that you now are entered into. So really being able to say, listen, are you living in fear?
Ooh, wow. So that's actually, I'm going to arc your question back to my question is, are you letting fear prevent you from having your passion project or doing your passion project? And I like to add on to that too is being in fear not self-love? Or is it, like we said, being present and being balanced, which would allow you to love and appreciate some level of fear, because that fear might actually inspire you, motivate you, or keep you from getting eaten by a bear. I mean, hey, in that moment, the fear was self-love.
Right.
So it's like how do you find the balance in those emotions that allow you to be present and allow you to be balanced, which to me is self-love. Thank you, Jay. Thank you.
Beautifully said, love. Beautifully said. Beautifully said.
And if all that's true, how do you do it, particularly in this system and society?
You know, I mean, I hope to be at a point where thoughts and perspectives of other people are welcome, but I'm also not losing myself in that. And that is the goal. That is the goal. That is the goal of happiness. You want to know how to be completely happy? First, accepting yourself for who you are, and other people will fall in line. I mean, self-love.
All right, love. So the last question I want to share in regards to our flow today, which is what is true self-love, is does loving yourself mean knowing yourself, or do you have to know thyself to love thyself? So, perfect example. I know Dre and I are learning a lot about ourselves and each other while doing this. And I realized recently, I noticed that I was having an experience, sharing some experience with some friends, and I noticed that I was a little focused on what they were saying and doing, actually just getting upset, basically. And I started asking myself, like, why am I getting upset about this? And I realized one of the things that I'm learning for myself is that it's hard for me to stay centered. And I think which of course my question should share that with you, is that I ask a lot about being balanced when sharing. So I realized that it's hard for me to stay centered sometimes when I'm around experiencing certain things, even if it's not harsh for me, maybe harsh for others. And so what I realized, I needed to develop a way to stay centered that worked for me. Like I needed to know myself enough to say, okay, this is what's going to help me stay centered. So I realized, some people use, tapping and meditation, and we talked about deep breathing, and I was like, right now when I'm in the middle of an experience where I'm feeling a little, or maybe my crab has come out, I'm ready to chop some heads off. Just breathing wasn't good enough, so I had to develop a system or process that allowed me to do it in any experience. So what I realized, first and foremost, I had to find something to center on and breathe. First I had to find the thing that I really liked and center on that and breathe, but the main thing I actually had to realize, I either have to sing or dance. So what I realized is in this experience where I was feeling a little, I'll just be honest, I was feeling angry. I was able to bring myself out of it super quickly when I started dancing and then centered on one thing at one time, and I did not let my thoughts flow. And what I realized, the dancing is what made it, first and foremost, because I was already dancing, it inspired me to stop worrying about them. And then it inspired me to want to get centered and to raise my vibration. Because I don't know if y'all have ever experienced where there's times where I've been like not feeling something, and part of me is like, part of me is saying, oh, let's breathe, let's relax. And part of me was like, nah, I don't want to do that. Right now, I'm ready to kirk out. So the dancing is what inspired me to want to center and raise my vibration and focus on myself. And then focusing on something that I wanted allowed my mind, the mind shadow they call the monkey mind, to settle in. And because I was dancing, which co-creates serotonin, I was able to stay in that. And my vibration went up so quick, I was like, yo, that's golden. I was like, I can do that. Anytime someone gives me something, I'm be like, excuse me, I'm about to go dance. Or actually be dancing while they're talking to me. Or what I also realized what will work potentially is singing. So if you're in a situation, because I immediately thought about it afterwards, like, oh, that's golden. Okay, so in a situation where dancing makes sense, or not, what will I do if I'm not able to dance? What if I'm in a serious conversation or at work? And I was like, oh, so maybe singing. So I actually tried it. Or what a situation where I'm not able to dance, like when I'm riding my bike. I was like, all right, so I sang. It works, it creates serotonin, and it was able to help me stay centered. So I feel like that's like a perfect example of knowing yourself to know what you need. So that's what I was saying. Self-love is not one like specific thing, no specific answer. It's not gonna be it's not gonna be the same for every situation. It's like figuring out what's gonna work in each situation and figuring out what works for you. I'll tell anyone, music is my temple, and dancing is my speaking in tongues. So it works for me. Jay, did you have any last question?
Yes, Jazz. I guess I wanna love, so I love what you said, Jazz.
Thanks. Oh, I get another one.
Yes.
Oh, on to the next.
Okay. On to the next
I
one.
still love you, Pinky Butt. I need more. Give me more.
I was just kind of like, I laughed a little bit because I'm like, could you imagine just really being in a situation? Could you imagine being in a situation where someone is just like, oh, you can't do this, and you just like up there, just popping like, I mean, heck yeah, that'll confuse the heck out of them. That'll confuse the heck out of them. Like,
Great revenge there.
Right. Just dance it off,
Show them they can't get to you at
right,
all.
Right.
Like this experience we had earlier. It was showing you
Okay,
can't get to us.
sometimes the best way to do it is just laugh it off and to really just stay yourself. Like we're both silly people, so like I'm gonna bring that silliness to you because quite honestly, what you're getting mad at is quite silly. I mean, sometimes it's just kind of, we had an experience that was just kind of like, all right, hey, be great. Be great.
And boy, do we laugh through it.
You know?
And then the person just eventually, I guess they just couldn't, I guess the vibe, our vibe was so fast, was so high that he just
The
couldn't
energy,
hang in there and just
it
rolled
just
out.
didn't match,
Yeah.
He's like, you know what? I'll just leave.
And
Cool.
it is a perfect example because I feel like had we gone, which has kind of been my normal pattern, had we gone into the arguing with this dude, he would have hung around.
Oh, right.
He would have hung around for
Right.
that. But
And then, eventually that would have made us get even more upset because we're like, okay, now you're just kind of, so it's just like, hey, you know what, sir? Yes. Be great. So I guess, my last question that I'm going to pose to you guys is just intuition. Intuition is just such a strong thing, just a strong, just like your spirit. That is literally your spirit bringing itself to life. So it's your job to either say, hey, I trust you, I trust you, or not. I mean, and quite frankly, it's just, do you trust yourself enough to follow your intuition? Do you follow yourself enough to follow your spirit? I mean, and at times, I've had moments where I know that I should have brought these sneakers. Something told me, bring new sneakers.
On the show.
Bring your sneakers. But me just kind of being like, but that second thought just always messes you up. But that first one is always so important, and I'm learning to really accept that and say, hey, this is the spirit sense saying, this is what you should do. And you see the consequence in not following that. So, I mean, just like how your mom said, hey, don't touch that pot, touch the pot. And you realize, hey, that pot is hot. I mean, so just really being able to trust yourself. Do you trust yourself?
So in a sense, do you love yourself enough to trust yourself? Yeah, 100.
Flow 2. True self-love. Questions. Number 1, in today's society, how do we learn to love ourselves? Number 2, does self-love include doing what we are passionate about? Number 3, does self-love include being present and giving ourselves credit? Number 4, is self-love everything in the moment? Number 5, are we living in fear? Number 6, does self-love include knowing ourselves? Number 7, does self-love include following our intuition? Number 8, are we honoring our past traumas for what they were? Number 9, are we overall allowing ourselves to feel? And number 10, are we focusing on the things that we want?
Thank y'all, loves, for joining us. We're so excited to be here. We're so excited to share this with y'all. We're so excited that you hung in there with us. Thank y'all. And I want to just remind y'all, we're just, like I said, we're just here to inspire. We just want y'all to vibe into these questions, go create your own questions, go share these questions, go create your own solutions. Like we said, before that, as far as I'm concerned, the questions are the holy grail. So it's like when you create that right question that feels right to you, it's like a yes and conversation with yourself. It's like the big bang within yourself, because it's that perfect balance of your emotions, your mental, the internal, the external, what you share with others, what you share with yourself. It's just like that self-orgasm. So go get inspired, go get in bed with yourself. And just so you know that we're just getting started, because it's only going to get better each time.
Peace, love, high vibrations. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We'll see you here next time on Cypher Honestly.
Bliss.
Love.